May profits be upon you. Hey, how are you doing? I really appreciate the support and the love that I was given this during the past week. Made some really good gains on some good uh pairs. Oil was the big one. Oil, when I put that the oil analysis out on the first, I said I'm looking for bearish price action. If you was to, if you took it where I had pointed, indicated on the chart, you would have did very well. Gold was another big one. We took a short there before it started. It turned around and did bullish, and man, the team just everything went really well with that. Put out some good analysis, and hopefully we can have a repeat performance this week. Now, I'm not going to go through the news this time. I'm just going to get right to the Dixie. What I'd like to do is do a thorough top down on Dixie, and then I'm going to be looking on the 4-hour charts of the other pairs, USD CAD and Euro USD, Pound USD, Aussie USD, New Zealand USD, and maybe I'll take a look at the other pairs on separate videos. But I definitely want to take a peek at Bitcoin, US oil, the indices, and gold. So let's start, shall we? And again, thank you for the feedback. Listen, I live off your feedback. I need your comments, okay? Whether you have a question, whether you have a request for a different pair that you want analyzed, or if you have questions regarding structure. Hey, are we taking a higher low or a lower high? Is the 1 hour time frame trying to fulfill the lower high of the monthly or the weekly time frame? Their correlation questions always come up, but go ahead. I need your feedback. I made money off of this this great short I took. Let me know, man. I'd like to know what your progress is too. Make sure you check out our free Telegram. The link is in the description for Lions Den FX. You want to join in there. I've thrown in some really thorough analysis of USDCAD on Friday morning, and that played out for 3 separate trades, and we totaled over about 10R over, just on those 3 pairs, on those 3 trades, just on that one day, just on that morning. That's why I made a separate video on it. Check it out. You'll see it at the end of this video. I'll put a click link for you. Anyway, let's check it out. Let's check out old Dixie here. Why am I stuttering? All right. So we're on the monthly. Let's take a look. What do we see? We see this bearishness come into the market, and we have this pullback here. Is this a real pullback? According to my definition, if you've been watching my videos a while, I like to look at least 2 candlesticks going in the opposite direction, and this one, the second one, has to trade outside of the range, the trading range of the previous candle. And so this one doesn't constitute a pullback on this time frame. So this is just one leg of structure. So that's from the high to this low to this lower high. But did this lower high make a lower low? No, it did not. It actually made a higher low. So you have to make note of these things, because this represents a switch, a shift. Okay, that represents a shift. Just like on a larger scale, this represents a shift. That's a higher low. You understand? So if we're making higher lows, there's chances our price will continue higher. You understand what I mean? All right. So here we made a higher low, and then the most important part is, where is the last break of structure? The last break of structure on the monthly is to the upside here. Look, we broke this structural point here. Is this a lower high? No, because it didn't make a lower low. It's just a swing high and a real structural point because it has more than 2 candles on the pullback. So we look at that as a break of structure. And then we have this lower time frame break of structure. I shouldn't have it highlighted here, but this high was taken out as well. And then we took the liquidity at this high, boom, right? And then we're creating another high here. Price did come back down. You know what happens after a break of structure? We expect a pullback, right? We expect a pullback to what we call a return to impulse. This would probably be the impulsing order block in this case, where price just, kind of pushed real hard up here. So what are we really looking at? We got a bullish engulfer here. Price made a demand zone here, right? We also have a bullish engulfer here, and price pushed past these highs. So this is what this order block accomplished. If an order block is not accomplishing something by breaking highs or breaking structure, then that isn't the order block you want to choose because it hasn't accomplished anything. All right. So let's go to the weekly. Let's take a look. All right. We can see price action a little bit more clearly here. You can see price meandered up, breaking structure here. All right, once we broke that structure, we did come back. Finding this order block here. All right, this one was tested here, and then we broke the high, came back testing the impulsing, the original impulsing order block here. And I'll make a mark of it. All right, I'll just leave that as a regular one. Okay, and price impulsed, forming a new order block there, and we went higher, breaking this 2 candle pullback here, that structure. All right, so what are we expecting? A return to impulse. Here is the originating impulse for this leg of structure. We did get a little bit of a pullback here, didn't we? Right, but that's a little bit of a pullback, ain't it? All right. And what did we do? We created these liquidity points up here for price to come up and sweep. All right. The only one it hasn't hit is this one. Okay. So let's go to the daily. All right. And this is where I'll highlight the other notes I made on this. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. And boom. All right. Now, I don't want to get too involved, too deep. All right. Price is in supply right now. All right. We have a daily order block over here. All right. It stretches across. It was tested here, and these tests are mitigations. Price comes up and gets more orders, more selling orders. All right. And obviously there is more to get. Okay, let's take a really close look at this price action. Why do I have this higher high here and this higher low here? Because I was looking at the higher time frames. I'm going to refer to the weekly. All right, what are we looking for? Price to make a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then a higher high. I'm looking for price to continue in this bullish trend. All right, and the higher time frames dictates what the lower time frames are going to do. All right, they set the targets for it. That's all. This is how you make trading easy. As soon as price hits your POI, your point of interest, this is where you look for shorts. This is where you look for longs. You just have to find the area, find the order block, find the supply or demand zones, and wait for price to come to you. And once it gets there, you look for price to transition, and that's where you take your entry. Do you understand? I'm trying to make this simple for you because It took me a long time to realize and understand that, and blown accounts along the way. All right. All right. So what do we have here? We have this break of this high, right? After price pulls back, makes a higher low, makes a higher high here, right? So we're looking at this as the higher low that made this higher high. Well, price breaks that on the way down. That's why we have a break of structure here, right? So what do we expect? A return to impulse after a break of structure. Remember that those sentences go together. After a break of structure, we expect a return to impulse. Well, price makes its way up to that impulse. Look, it comes up here, then breaks these lows again. Now that's an interesting price action. That's interesting price action to me. It goes up a little bit, breaks the low, and then it finally returns to impulse. Here, this is that leg of structure, right? The originating impulse for this leg of structure that broke this structure here. All right, we come all the way back. Just because price went past that doesn't mean it violated this order block, because understand we are in a daily supply. We are in daily supply here, right? This is a smaller daily order block. And I love I love to see bearish order blocks at supply. All right. So all it did was grab the liquidity that was up here, grab the liquidity up there, and then closed below this order block. Do I think price is going to continue higher? Let me make this clear. The Fed is talking about starting their tapering, right? They're going to start pulling back on the support they've been pumping into the economy here, right? So that's going to have the currency moving up. November is the best month of the year for the indices. We're going to see some higher things happening with the indices for sure, right? If history holds, but because we're tapering, we got a couple of things going on at the same time. All right, we got inflation to worry about, right? And with those things in mind, I'm looking at technical analysis secondarily. I'm being aware of the fundamentals primarily. That's the bigger picture. The smaller picture is there's going to be some short-term. Looks like there may be some short-term bearishness in the currency. I'm looking for price after returning to impulse to break these lows, to break this low, to break these lows. Now understand we're on the daily, and I'm looking for price to maybe come down here and find support and maybe go up, or come even further, breaking this low and breaking this low. If price holds here, that's great. This is a bullish order block, and it's going to come back and test this base candle, the base candle of the order block, and quite possibly continue up. But because it snatched liquidity at the top here, all right, and because it's returning to impulse, I'm expecting some bearishness to enter this market temporarily, all right, and maybe we come here as for a return to impulse, not breaking this low, and then come up. But in either case, I got a couple of reasons for some short-term bearishness to enter this market. Let's go to the 4-hour and we'll get an even better look. All right, and this is where I will stop. Okay. Where's the last break of structure on this time frame? That is the question you always ask, right? We got this higher high breaking these highs, higher high, higher low. We didn't break anything here, all right? But we did break short-term. Oh man, we did break some short-term highs and lows, right? We broke at least 2 of them. Can you see this? Of course you can. All right, we broke that high. We broke this high. All right, And here we are in daily supply. You see how prices reacted up here, right? Look at it closely, and you can see that we have broken short-term lows on the way down. All right. Now, price could continue down from here. It very well could. I'm not expecting that. I believe that because we have missing price or a fair value gap here, an imbalance where price moved inefficiently down, I believe this will come back up to mitigate. I believe it will come back up to mitigate and then come further down. And we find this 4-hour, let me see something here. I'm going a little too quick. We find this 4-hour order block here. This bullish order block here. And we get this action. And maybe with the Fed's tapering and everything like that there, it starts acting like we start seeing those actions reflected in the markets. All right, this is what I'm looking for on the Dixie. Temporary bearishness, and maybe midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, we see a turnaround. It may happen sooner than that. Who knows? This is on the 4-hour, so you know how Sunday, Monday is. You know how I feel about Sunday, Monday. That is market mischief. All right, but I can see a higher low being made here, and then a higher high on the Dixie. Okay, now I spent enough time on the Dixie. Let's move on to another pair. We're going to go to Euro USD. All right. Look at the 4-hour. Now I need to get rid of all of this. Just make it all go away. Okay. That was throughout the week. What do we see? We see that bearishness, right? All right. We see price broke this high, came up, stayed up here for a little while, enjoyed that consolidation. Then we had to break out to the low, to the downside, excuse me. All right. Again, we have distribution up here, and then it turns into accumulation, just like over here. All right. This is actually a reaccumulation from here, but we got accumulating orders here. It shot up, breaking these highs, and then down. Look at that price action. We take all the people out who had shorts here. Take them all out. Bam. These people who are in longs, who have their stop orders here, were like, yay, oh, wait a minute. And these people got taken out. All right, including these two. So price comes back up. All right. And this appears to be a breaker block. How many of you know what that is? All right, an ICT breaker block. All right, it fires through and then finds the orders on the way back up, and price falls from it. It's interesting order block to acknowledge. All right, so what do we got now? All right, we are in 4-hour. We've broken for that. What am I talking about, man? Goodness gracious, I'm stuttering because it's hot in here. All right, so I got a breaker structure here, right? And again, we have another break of a low, taking the liquidity from here, and we have liquidity taken from here. We've just hit all of this liquidity. That's something you want to keep in mind. That's something you want to just always have in mind, because if there's no liquidity down there, but there's some above, and there is all of this, all these highs have liquidity above them. That's internal liquidity points. Okay, just so that you understand, that's internal. Internal seeks external. External seeks internal. If we come all the way out here, we've come all the way out here, breaking this low, we've taken that external liquidity point out. So where are we going? To the internal. Does that make sense? All right. So we got this break instruction. What do we expect? A return to impulse. All right. And this is on the 4-hour. We're getting ready to break that high. I'm looking at this big old huge candle because this one up here is just too, I'm not so sure price is going to make it all the way up there. But come in here, once price, let me see, let me get it. There you go. Once price comes up here, once price hits this POI, that's where I start looking for a transition of price. Okay. Now I'm going to watch this really close because this area is where I expect price to start giving me my my head and shoulders or my quasi. All right, this is where I'll be looking. Okay, but I'm going to start looking when it enters this across that line, because this is the body of this institutional candle. So I want to. This is where I want to look. So what are we looking for? Temporary, all right, short-term strength followed by longer-term weakness. The opposite, the very inverse of the Dixie. All right, so while I'm looking here on the Dixie, I'm looking here. Boom, bat. And again, I'm really looking hard there. I'm looking for something like this. Let's get this up here a little bit, just so it looks pretty. Okay. This is where I'm looking. We're going to enter that zone right about there. You know, right about there. We'll see how this all shakes out. All right. So let's go to USDCAD. I should have did this first. I did this in weird order. I'm sorry. All right. Getting rid of all of that. USDCAD. What do we have here? Wow. Looks like we have a transition, doesn't it? Looks like we see price transitioning from bearish to bullish momentum. We want to take a good look at the big picture. That's the first thing you want to do. We see how price dropped real hard from here. All this internal liquidity was taken by this one sweep. All right, and we come down, taking out these lows here for the final part of this, internal liquidity that took so long to build up. We still have this low here and these couple of lows here, but we've taken out the major part of the liquidity pools that are there. Now, what we want to acknowledge is prices transitioned. All right, we see the low. All right, we see how price, you know, what we want to see is that is a transition of price. That's when you know price is transition. If it's not as symmetrical as that, we're looking for the quasi, right? You know, it doesn't have to be equal, you know, like a nice neat neckline and equal lows and stuff. No, it could be, you know, just like this. It doesn't have to be like a equal, but what you want to see is lower high, lower high, lower low, and then higher low. That's what you want to see in the when you want to see in a bearish structure. All right, you want to see that break of structure to the top. See how price broke here? What I would want to see as it's coming down here, I was like, I want to see price break that. I want to see price break that. So when it starts building back up here and giving that pretty head and shoulders here, I'm going, did we break this? You know, those are my questions, because I'm looking for price to break that and return to the impulsing order block there. All right, it comes back up, it breaks higher. When it breaks higher than the highs that I just had, starting to look a little confusing. I know, I got you. Oh, once it breaks this high, then I'm looking for a return to this impulse. And that's exactly what it did. When it breaks this high, I'm looking for a return to this impulse. And that's exactly what it did. All right. When it breaks this high, what am I looking for? A return to impulse. Now this high was very pronounced and it broke these. Significant. So am I looking here? Of course, I'm looking here first. But if price breaks through that, you see how aggressive this candle is? This is inducing people to take shorts. I'm looking at the original head. And once it breaks through that, I'm looking at this one. I'm looking at this one. If it's breaking through all of that, because I always look for that transition on the lower time frames. If it breaks the head, then the whole setup is invalid. But after it breaks structure, you know it's going to turn, it's turning bullish. You're looking for it to find that support, that tap. And this at the head is where you will find it most frequently. And this is where you take your entry. All right. That's from me to you. That's a takeaway. That's a takeaway. Take it with you. Now, what do we see for USD CAD? Understanding that the oil is getting stronger. All right. Even though we took a very lovely short last week. Oh, just refer to my last oil video and you will see that was great. Anyway, we broke this high. We wicked above it, came back down. And what are we looking for? Return to impulse, right? I'm looking over here. Look at that candle. Boom. All right. It's easy if you just follow the footsteps of price, the footsteps of not price, but the footsteps of institutional buyers, because that's what they like. They like to break structure. That's what they like. And they like to make that higher low at an order block to pick up buying orders. They'll do a sell move to buy. All right. And they come back to mitigate out of those sells, which they are in drawdown up here, and continue higher, gaining more profits with the buys. I hope you catch what I just said. Review, and you'll see it because I repeated it enough times. All right, so where are we at now? Look at the 4 hour. We see that price is transitioning. We see that price turn bearish here, breaking short-term lows here. Oh man, let me mark this out here. All right, we broke a short-term low there, and I'm looking at the low that is being created here. All right, if price continues like it's doing, you know, it looks like we are transitioning, doesn't it? Look closely here, and we broke this low. That is 2 candles now. We broke that low, came down, because this is the higher low that made that higher high. Okay, we broke that structure to the downside where we expecting a return to impulse. That's exactly what it did. Came right up here, testing this order block. Let me highlight this order block. I'm sorry. You can't just keep talking. You gotta show people too. All right. Came up and tested that order block. We came down. And again, we are retesting it. So what do I want to see? I want to see price return to impulse. I want to see some temporary bearishness. Now price, because the CAD is pretty strong, price may come all the way down to here. Okay, it may. And this was an efficient price movement here, so there's not much in the way of inefficiencies. Okay, so I'm going to keep an eye on this one. All right, it might turn. It might come down here and make the turn, because this is the last down move before the up move, right? And it might just come here. So I'm going to watch from this point, this area, if price should turn bearish, and we'll find out if price is going to turn bearish by looking on the lower time frames, the 1 hour, the 15, and the 5. And we'll see if price is transitioning from bullish momentum to bearish momentum so that it can come on down here. And this is where I'll be looking for that same shift, just the inverse of it, from bearish to bullish. And we'll take a buy trade when it gets down here. The Dixie is going to help with this one because it's led by USD. Okay, so we'll see if let me make my little mark. We'll see if we can get something like that. So not drawn well, but you get the point. All right, so we'll look at this. Man, I can't believe that. 4 hour. Okay. All right. So, you know, I'm hoping it comes down to here. That'll give us a great risk to reward on this trade. All right. It may come, it may. This is the 4 hour. It may make it. It may make it because this is a very nice impulse, and I would like to see price return to the origin of this impulse. Okay, let's go to the next one. That would be pound USD. We'll take a look at cable. All right, get rid of all. What do I got? Do I have a lot to get rid of? All right. Well, let's take a close look at all of this. All right. What do we see? Lower low, lower high, higher low, lower high relative to that one. So we are inside of this trading range. We didn't break. You know, I'm doing a lot of pointing. We're inside of this trading range. All right. The lower high to the lower low, or the lower low to the higher high is your trading range. And when it's only when it's broken, do you see a confirmation of the current bias, you know, the current bearish momentum, or if it breaks higher, then you know that price has shifted from bearish to bullish momentum, from bearish to bullish momentum. All right. And once it does break, you establish a new range. This becomes the bottom of your range. This becomes the top, right? That's the way you work. That I'm looking at higher time frame, daily, weekly, monthly. These are those structural points. On this time frame, we work a little bit smaller. All right, we're just looking at legs of structure. We're looking for those higher highs. You see a bunch of higher highs here. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, you know, and you can do all of that, but that's all one structure, one leg of structure on the higher time frames. I hope you're picking this up. Okay, so after this higher low, this lower high relative to that one, what are we expecting? A higher low to be formed, right? We expect this point to be maintained. This most recent lower low. We expect this to be maintained, or sorry, because this was a downtrend from the higher time frames. You expect this to be a lower high, and you expect this to be violated for a lower low. We didn't make a new high here. So we're looking for a lower low on the higher time frames. And that would be our target, right? But you can see price is respecting this order block here. This is I don't know what time frame this is, but on this time frame, we're going to make a mark of it. We're going to mark this out. That makes sense. Down move. We come down, we double tap it and then come back up. Tap that in. We have a bearish order block there. All right. So instead of me putting the original order block here, I'll start it from there. All right. And I'll just engulf both of them. That's the way I like to do it. Why am I messing with that thing? See, that makes sense. Okay. And like I said, I want to cover up to here. All right, price did respect that area. So that's where I'm going to be looking. And you see, price did have a reaction forming the bullish engulfer here. Okay. Now, after an aggressive drop like this, what am I expecting in price action? Is price going to just continue down from here? Is it going to make it all the way back up here? That's a huge ask. That's a huge ask. And I don't think that's happening. I just don't think that's happening. Now, maybe it may make it up to 50% of that. All right. And I'm going to look over to here. When I see spaces like this, I always look for the inefficiencies. Here is an inefficient. This is inefficient price action right there. All right, that's an imbalance. And then we have another imbalance up here. So price does have a reason to go back up here, right? There's a reason for it. You know, doesn't mean it's going to do it immediately. Do it anytime it feels like it. All right, like a price gap. All right, it doesn't fill those in immediately, but eventually, you know, 90% of the time it will fill that price gap in at its own time. All right, I'm looking at this area over here. I'm looking for breaker blocks. All right, now you see how price passed through this area here, even though it was respected here. All right, it passed through it. It passed this zone, which means it passed this zone, which this one was reacting to. All right, this demand was passed through, even though price did come back up and test it. I'm looking at this. This one here may be a breaker block. And I'm going to keep my eye on it. And it's right in between the, what do you call the, this area right here. And it's right in between this area of imbalance, these imbalances. So I'm going to keep my eye on that because that might be a possible breaker block. All right, where price may come back up and tap it and then go back down. One way to check, you see how it's right at the 50% line? So, you know, that's an interesting zone to keep my eye on. Price may come back up here and then turn bullish. All right, because we're going to experience temporary, temporary weakness in the USD against the pound, right? Temporary weakness. And then we can see the strength come back into the USD through tapering and all that good stuff, and pound continuing its weakness. It's been weak, and we might see a temporary breath of fresh air, then the breaking of these lows, and that's the way I'm going to play this. There is an inefficiency here, right along where this inefficiency is. So I like our chances on this one. Let me see. Let me mark this nice. Let me mark it nice now. Balance. Okay. So what this break block does is, you know, it works the same way a regular order block does, but sometimes if you see price just pass right through it like that, sometimes they come back and find these blocks are still filled with selling orders. They're filled with selling orders now, and price will mitigate there and reverse. Okay, and so I'm going to keep my eye on this area. We have the imbalances here, so I'm looking for price, like I said, to come up, maybe find that resistance here, that find the supply here, find supply here, and at that 50% point mark, not make it all the way back, but make it here. If it breaks through here, that's fine. If it comes back, this is in discount pricing, and I don't like taking. Personally, I won't take a short from here. All right, but I'm thinking that this is the price action that's going to happen. But I won't take a short from here. I prefer to take shorts above the 50% mark in a retracement. Why? Because this is where the discounts are. This is where you get your discount prices. This is premium prices. If price gives me a valid transition of price from bullish to bearish momentum here on the low time frames, where I can see it on the 1 hour, the 15, and the 5. All right, I will enter on the 1 if I see a valid transition of price. And what am I looking for? You know what I'm looking for. All right, high, higher high, lower high. That's what I'm looking for. And I would love to see this break of structure and a return to impulse. This is where the entry is. That's, you know me by now, so please keep it simple and give me feedback. Tell me if you understand what I just said about the order blocks, about the breaker, and the possible path of price. Tell me, give me the feedback to let me know you understand what the imbalances are. All right, let's go to the next pair, Aussie USD. What do we see? See a lot of markings. Let's get rid of that. Okay, let's take a look. Let's span out and see if we see the price action. Well, we have this lower low. We have that lowest low, right? We break the high. Ha-ha, we have shifted from bearish to bullish momentum, right? Price comes down. After a breaker structure, what do we expect? What do we expect? I'm going to have to mark this up. I'm taking up too much time doing all this mess. All right, come on, man. What are you doing down there? I don't understand what the problem is. All right, breaker structure. What do we expect? A return to impulse, right? Where's the impulse? The impulse would be here. Watch. The impulse would be down here. All right. Look at the bearish move before the up move. You have to make sure you understand where the bearish move would start and where it would end. All right. Where the bullish, the order block would start and where it would end. All right. Price came up here and started down here. So on a higher time frame, I can guarantee you this is your head, where the what do you call this? That's a bullish. All right. If you check the higher time frames, you can see that this is probably where your order block starts. And I went and lost myself. What in the heck? There you go. All right. Too big on a weekly. Let's look on a daily. Aha. See, again, you have this reversal pattern. I love this reversal pattern, the morning star. Right? Is this the evening star? Yeah, this is the morning star. All right. And I get mixed up with calling these names, right? But because when you go to the next higher time frame, like a 2-day, you'll see that it is just a bullish engulfer. Okay. It's just a bullish engulfer. And you see that price came back to test the median threshold. All right, the middle, the 50% of this institutional candle. So if you do that enough times, you'll be able to see it on the 4 hour. All right. And you see that price. I'm sorry I took so much time giving you these corny lessons. All right. But you can see where it would start and then come up. So you won't get mixed up when it comes over here. That's why you always try and correlate between the higher time frames and lower time frames. All right. So I call this the head because you know, just to span out, this is your transition of price. And this is the one I just described to you in the last pair. You know, you can see on a higher time frame, I was looking for that break of structure, the return to impulse at the head, right? And then breaking higher. That's what you want to find. That's your transition, and you'll find that on every time frame because price is fractal. Anyway, let's get to the point of this analysis. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get too sidetracked. Okay, so we have another break of structure. We know that price is continuing higher, so that is a higher high, right? Got our shift going. All right, we can put it here. We got our shift going, right? So what are we expecting? A higher low. Where is the higher low going to be made? This looks like a great candidate. Why? Because look how price left this area. When you break structure, right? That was the mark the shift, but now we're marking the break of structure here. We have a break of structure. So we're expecting price to return to impulse. Now, there's a couple of places to look for that impulse origin. The way you want to do it is the way I do it is I'll go to a higher time frame to simplify, to get rid of all that noise, all the ups and downs. You know, I can see clearer price action on the higher time frames. Now I'll be coming down here. Am I going to look here? This is too close to the break of structure, too recent to that, you know, prior to that break of structure. So I don't look at this as the origin. All right, I'm going to come down to here. I'm going to come down to here. I'm going to look at here. I'm going to look at all. I'm going to mark these like so. Right. I'm gonna say, that's a possible candidate. This one looks good, but what did it accomplish? Yeah, well, we got this bullish bearish bullish pattern, and this had a very long hit. So I like this one. I do like this one. So I'm looking at this one. I'm looking at this one here. Just knowing though that it is responding to this one. So this is the game you play. You find the order block that makes the most sense, right? Now you see price responded to this one over here, but you don't want to get yourself all confused up. You want clarity. All right. Can I get a clearer look on the 2-day? Is there a clearer look? It's starting to look like it should come down to here. It's starting to look that way. Price just may come all the way down here. Now, what do I expect? I expect with fundamentally USD given some temporary weakness. So we might go up. We might hit what might be a breaker right here. What might be a breaker block right there. And it might go up and then come on down. Okay. Now we have a higher low here. We have a higher high. So I am looking for some bullish action here. I am looking for some more bullish action, but right now, the return to impulse is on my mind. So on the 2-day, there is an interesting order block here. And I'll be looking at that order block. I'm going to go back to the 4-hour. But in the meantime, in between time, as price makes its way down here, all right, where's the last break of structure on the 4-hour? We got this low, come up, we made another low, and then we have a 2 candle pullback. We have a break of structure here. So what am I looking for? A price to come back to the originating impulse. I'm going to look here. I'm going to look right here. And I did a lot of talking just to get to this point. All right. And we'll see if that's what we get next week. All right. A return to impulse after this break of structure. Forgive me for rambling. But I'm really hoping that you're learning something. Drop me a comment and let me know. Hey man, it's way too much rambling. Rambling Jones. What do we got here? Top, bottom. All right. So let's move on to NZDUSD. And what do we see? A lot of, we might end up having to draw this all over again. It's no problem for me, but I want to walk you through the process. We got a higher high, higher low, higher high, breaking this high here. And we are working our way to a what? Higher low. That's all we need. And where would that higher low be made? I like this point here. This looks like an originating or impulse. So I like the supply, the demand zone formed here. Look how long price stayed there. Okay. Now this will be one of my candidates. All right, on the 4 hour. Let's mark this up where price could possibly return to as far as the return to impulse. All right. We can see how price broke these lows. Let's take a closer look at this. We might have a situation right here because this actually looks good for a return to impulse. Look how price left that area. I do like this one, honestly. Just trying to go with the probabilities, right? Price did have a reaction here, and I'm going to keep that in mind. But where is the last break of structure? Where is the last break of structure? The last break of structure seems to be right here. Come on, man. You're embarrassing me. All right, last break of structure. Okay, I'm just apparently no good at this. Last break of structure is right here. All right, and price is making its way back to the impulsing order block. Now, you see this whole move here? That's where I'm looking. All right, this area here interests me because it was an order block. Come on, man. It was an order block that price just passed through. And usually those are where price can come back to and find itself reversing. All right. And what did I just call that earlier? If you were paying attention, you would know. What is it? It might be a break block. It might be a break block. I think there's potential for a break block. Yeah. Now, so price is reacting here for some odd reason in this area here. So this, the breaker block could be because of the base candle. The breaker block could be started here. It could be argued that. And if I see, but I believe me, at the halfway mark of your IC candle, your institutional candle, this is just a little bit above the 50% mark. I would be looking, I'm going to be eyeballing here. Okay. But this will start the beginning of my AO, my POI. It's the military coming out of me right now. AO means area of operation. So my POI would border once it crosses this line, then I'm in my POI as far as I'm concerned, technically. So I'll be looking to see if price gives me a transition from bearish to bullish. No, from bullish. I'm sorry, because this is the last candle, from bullish to bearish momentum. I want to see this higher low be made. All right, and we've hit here already. So, you know, if price does come back low, I want to see that this block is maintained. I don't want to see price break that low, because what am I looking for? I told you it's this simple. I'm looking for price to transition. All right, and I'm waiting for that low to be broken, a return to impulse somewhere around the head, and then up. And that's what I'll be looking for here. This being the left shoulder, this being the head. Price is already broke a short-term high. You know, I'm looking for this transition here, and then, oh, wait a minute now. That'll go against my fundamentals. If price, this is the situation. If price doesn't break this low, then I'm looking forward to do this. I got really ahead of myself there just a minute ago. I'm sorry, but I'm looking for this return to impulse and a continuation of the bearish trend. I will be looking at this area to make sure price isn't transitioning on me. So then I would expect higher highs to be made, but that would require some longer term USD weakness. That's not the first situation I'm looking for. I'm looking for a price to break this low and continue lower, making lower highs. And every time, I'm going to tell you something right now, every time you see price break that low, look for the return to impulse. Look for the return to impulse. You can take this buy here, and you can take this sell there. You can take this buy here and take that sell when it returns to impulse there. All of these is just money in the bank when you see that trend. That's why the trend is your friend. Okay? Just bear that in mind. I'm getting a little tired now, and I need to get my head together. So that'll be the last one. Look for separate videos for the other pairs. I'm going to do some today, matter of fact. And I really hope that this next week will be a very profitable week for you. I'm going to do my best to give you some guidance in that way. And make sure you look for the updates. All right. Make sure you look for those updates. All right. Now, I also want you to check out the oil video that I sent earlier this week, and check out that trade. And I will leave a link on the screen for you right now. And I hope that you be careful this coming week. All right. May profits be upon you.